On this episode of This is Game Boy Lite, we are holding a lit block party. Hello everybody, and welcome back to a brand new episode of This is a Game Boy Lite with only me, Moelle. If you've heard the previous episodes, which one was that again? The Fortified Zone series, right? You may have heard us say that we are recording these episodes like, like literally after each other. Just been a day since we've recorded the Fortified Zone, but it's been, of course, 2 weeks since you've been able to hear that episode. But yeah, we're just trying to not rush things out, but we're trying to pre-record a lot of stuff because it is the holiday season and we will have a lot less time to actually get together and record these. Even though this is a solo one, of course, but it's also to give our producer Lex a little bit of a break, so she doesn't have to work on these during the holidays. So yeah, it's only me this time around with a very short episode, actually. I'm even giving all of you listeners a break, because our last one was a little bit longer again than usual, but we did do 2 games, of course. But this one is going to be like a real quick one that you can listen to in like half an hour, probably something like that. As I just mentioned, all of the games I had been playing in the previous recording for us, I can't really add anything to that because it's literally the next day and I haven't played anything in between these episodes. So I'll just go over the things I have been reading, actually, for the past month, I would say. When it comes to comics, I have finished the Usagi Yojimbo saga, book 1 and 2. Those collect like a lot of the comics, the issues from volume 2 and volume 3 of Usagi Yojimbo. And apparently they're reprinting all of these, so I can like keep up with them easily. I'll just pre-order them and keep on reading them further and further. But I'm really loving them, especially the second book had a lot of great arcs and stories in them that I absolutely enjoyed. And if you're into like Japanese culture and I guess like animal characters, even though they don't feel like animal characters, definitely check those out. Sadly, it starts at volume 2 and getting volume 1 in a collection is horrible. Going back to my rant from last time, where it's hard to find some comics. Those were printed by a different publisher, and they're out of print, and they're super expensive. So sadly, you won't see the start of the entire story, but hopefully one day they will reprint those as well, and then you can go grab them. So I also mentioned that I was reading Spider-Man. I've only been able to read one book so far, I guess, which is Spider-Man Learning to Crawl, which collects issues 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, and 1.5. I don't know if Marvel is still doing that, but at least back then they were releasing a lot of like 0.1 books, which were little side stories or different takes on things. Like next to the normal main line of comics. And this one collects those 5, and it's actually a story that takes place at the very start of the entire Spider-Man story. So when Peter just got his powers. It adds a little bit more to it. It deals a little bit more with the death of Ben, and yeah, it introduces a new character that you will never see again after this. But it's a nice addition to like those early issues of Spider-Man. The only weird thing is that it references like Amazing Spider-Man 1 through 5, I believe, or something like that. And if you haven't read those cameos, I guess you can call them, that they reference to might look weird, but yeah, I've read them also, so I could place it at least. But it's a fun read. It's like 120 pages or something. It's drawn in the style of those 60s comics, and I had a lot of fun reading it. I do read other stuff. I don't only read comics. I'm a big Stephen King fan. Maybe I've mentioned that before. And I've just finished up Misery, and I'm currently reading The Stand, which is a really big one. It's like 1,200 pages, I believe. I am reading them in English. It depends on what I can grab the cheapest usually, but The Stand I wanted to read in English. Always loved the 90s miniseries. The new one is alright, but not as great, but I did enjoy it. So now I'm actually reading the book, and it's amazing. And it's well, depending on how you deal with the situation with the pandemic and things like that, it's a good book to read now. Because it also deals with a pandemic. That's not a spoiler. That's literally what the book is about. So yeah, it's nice to read that and seeing a different outcome than what we are getting with the pandemic we are actually going through. So yeah, that's about it. So let's just dive into this week's episode. I always say this week's episode. Just this episode, that's what I should say. And I'm gonna be talking about a little, probably unknown game called Megalit. Enjoy the music. Welcome back, everybody. Let's dive into the episode, the game of this episode, which is Megalit, as I mentioned before. So Megalit got a release in Japan in September or August. I sometimes don't know which is the day and which is the month when it comes to these dates, but it's either those, in 1991, and it got a very late release in the US and in the EU around December 1992, so almost a year and a half after the game originally came out in Japan, which is weird. We don't see that very often, and I do wonder why that was the case for this game, but I couldn't find any information about it. It was developed by, and I don't know if you pronounce this correctly, ASCII Entertainment, so ASCYY, like the ASCII art and things like that. So yeah, this was developed by ASCII Entertainment, also known as ASCII Corporation, also known as ASCII Media Works. They had a lot of names. They're all like the same company, but like, how do you call this, subsidiaries or something from the same company. But yeah, those are the people who made it. They did quite a lot for sure, but they're mostly known for actually making the MSX computer. But they did a lot of games for sure. I'll just look at the list here and pick out some that stand out to me at least, which are not that many, to be perfectly honest. I see a Bomberman game, I see quite a few Wizardry games, some Mahjong titles, apparently Smash TV, weirdly enough. Yeah, Ishido, The Way of Stones, that one reminds me of something. I think that's also like a Shanghai kind of game, now that I think about it, a Mahjong tile based game. So yeah, for Game Boy itself, they didn't really do that much, but yeah, they're mostly known for their work on the MSX computer. The game was published by Takara, and Takara is basically a Japanese LJM. They were a toy company, and after a while they just decided, hey, let's release some games for many systems. I'm looking at had to listen. There's quite a few good ones. Like unlike LGN, these are definitely good ones. I see like Battle Arena Toshinden games, King of Fighter games, Earthworm Jim, World Heroes 2 Jet. That's also like a King of Fighter style game. Joe and Mac Caveman Ninja. And the latest I can see is 1945 1 and 2, the arcade games that they re-released apparently. But yeah, they show up a lot, especially on Game Boy with a lot of titles that they just published. But yeah, they're just a toy company. Hey everybody, this is Moelle from the future. So I'm recording this a little bit later than the actual episode. So I just talked about the developer of this game being ASCII Entertainment. That's not entirely true, actually. I did find out that this game was actually made by ASMIC Entertainment and ASCII Entertainment later on. Like a year later, like I said, with the release date, they brought it to the Western audiences. So they did a few changes, probably just translating things here and there. But the game was actually first made by ASMIC. And ASMIC was known as ASMIC Ace Entertainment, I believe. Nowadays they are called just ASMIC Ace Inc. and they're mostly concentrating actually on Japanese film production and distribution. But back in the early days, they did have a department that focused on video games, and you might have seen a few of these actually. I'll just go over a few of them. The most well known is probably Boomer in ASMIC World, or ASMIC-kun Land, or ASMIC-kun World as it's called in Japanese. And Boomer is basically the mascot of ASMIC. If you look at the logo that they had back then, it always featured Boomer, which is like a pink dinosaur kind of thing. But yeah, they made quite a few puzzle games, so this one falls right into their base category for games. Like they also have, for example, Cat Trap on Game Boy. I think we mentioned that one a few times already. Let's see what else they have here. Yeah, these are mostly games that only came out in Japan, like the Lupin series. I see some form of ports for Shinobi. What else do I see here? I saw one and now I already forget what it was. But yeah, they're mostly known for their puzzle games and ports of various other games. So just wanted to, yeah, say this, paste this in between the episode, because I made a little mistake there, and I wanted to rectify that. So there you go. The composer for Megalit is sadly unknown. I did my best to try and find it, but I couldn't find anything. So I assume it's just somebody from the ASCII Entertainment company that did the music. Sadly, no credit, because this game does have some banger tracks to it, especially the main theme that plays through every stage basically is a well written song, and it doesn't work on your nerves. Like with some puzzle games, after a while it starts working on your nerves hearing the same song over and over again, but it doesn't for this one. So yeah, Megalit is probably something you haven't heard of before, but it is a puzzle game. And I can hear you say, wow, is Moelle talking about a puzzle game? That's weird, because he sucks at them. True, I do suck at them, but this one stood out for me, so I wanted to take a closer look at it and explain what it is, and hopefully some other people will enjoy playing it after listening to this episode. There were a bunch of people who came to my stream when I was playing it and were like, oh, this actually looks interesting, I want to play it myself. So I thought, yeah, I mean, I'll do an episode on it so the word gets out. For being a puzzle game, this does have a plot, weirdly enough, so let's go over the plot here real quick. This comes from the back cover of the box, because we do not have a manual. Again, if you do have a manual, which we don't have in our manual database, I think it's just gbmanuals.com, and if you have the ability to scan said manual, please do and submit it to the website so we can add it. It helps out a bunch of people and ourselves for making these episodes and just for playing through the games. But yeah, here's the plot from the back cover. A wicked witch named Doc, that's D-A-H-K, Doc, like dark but with an H, wants to rule the world with the power of her magic jewels. She has abducted all the princesses, elves and fairies who have magic jewels from their castle and has cast a Megalit spell on them. One brave hero comes to the rescue, but he also is cast under the Wicked Witch's spell and is turned into a statue of stone. In order to save the captured princesses and to break his own spell, the brave hero must solve Megalit's puzzle. Restore peace to the kingdom by helping our hero solve the puzzle. So yeah, that's it. Simple enough. Wicked Witch turns everybody into blocks, basically. Big blocks. A megalith is like a huge stone block. And she turns the hero, who's unnamed, into a pebble, basically. Kind of like that. So yeah, that's what this game story is about. But of course, the story isn't very important when it comes to a puzzle game. So let's dive into the gameplay of it. Controls are super simple. The D-pad moves you around. The A button allows your rock guy to jump, only 3 blocks high, can't jump higher than that. And with the B button you can grab blocks and move them around. You don't have to hold the B button, you just have to press it and your character sprite turns into a different color, or the block, now I don't remember, which means you are grabbing it and you can pull it around and you have to press B again to let go of it. So how does Megalit actually work? You get a basically half-tile grid-based stages. It's a front view, so you can only move left to right and jump upwards. And each stage has a bunch of megaliths spread throughout them. And your goal is to get all horizontal and vertical blocks on the bottom floor of the stage. So there can be one on top of another. They all have to touch the bottom of the stage. The blocks themselves can't drop more than 1 level down, because otherwise they would break. So that means that you have to make sure that you pull or push the right blocks around so that they fall down 1 level onto another block or onto the floor, or even create some kind of stair situation where you can push a block off that would be on a higher level. You can do that a lot by making those half-tiles count, actually, because you can like half push a block underneath one so that it's still holding it. Meanwhile, you can push another block on the other side under it, and then you can make like kind of a staircase or something like that to push other blocks downwards. If a block falls on top of you, you will get squished and you will have to restart the stage. And because this game is so grid-based and block-based, there are actually multiple solutions to the puzzles. Like, my suggestion is, when playing this game, don't think you're stuck quite yet the moment you see that you've done something wrong, because there might be another way to save yourself from failing the stage. But I think that makes it clear what the game is about. Push and pull blocks around, jump over them, yada yada yada, until you can push or pull them all down to the bottom floor. The game actually offers 2 modes. Easy mode is the first one, which is kind of a tutorial, but I would say only for the first 2 worlds, because then it shows you what to do, and in between stages it gives you little tips and tricks to progress through the stages. But after a while, you can't keep on doing a tutorial for something as simplistic as this. So the stages will get harder and harder going through each world. But easy mode has 6 worlds, each with 5 stages, and you get a password for beating every world. So every 5 stages you will get a password. And after beating all of the 30 initial quote-unquote easy mode / tutorial levels, you will get a message saying that congratulations, but now you have to beat quest mode. Quest mode is basically the story mode of this game. It's set up the same way as easy mode was. It has 6 worlds, each with 5 stages, and I wouldn't say of increasing difficulty, but it does require you to have played the easy mode to understand the hidden mechanics, the hidden tricks to progress through stages. But yeah, it varies when it comes to difficulty between the puzzles. Like, Worlds 1 and 2 are the easiest, but when it comes to stages between World 3 through 6, I would say some are super easy to solve and others would be harder to solve. There is, of course, something that is different between quest mode and easy mode, besides being different stages, of course, but suddenly you have a timer for each and every puzzle, or each and every stage. Easy mode does not have a timer. You can take as long as you want to solve the puzzles. Luckily, these timers are very generous. They range between 6 minutes to 12 minutes. That is more than enough to solve a puzzle. And even then, if you would fail, of course, you can always redo it. But there is another catch to quest mode, and this is something that I wish no puzzle game ever would do. Suddenly you actually have 4 lives that you can use for each world, and every time you fail you will lose a life. This actually kind of breaks the game for me a little bit, even though I still really love it. I think the puzzles are great and things like that. But having lives in a puzzle game is not a good idea at all. You have to consider that some people, aka me, are just not good at puzzle games and will have a harder time getting through stages than people who are more savvy when it comes to puzzles. And only providing, again, a password for each 5 stages you beat or each world you beat makes this a little bit more annoying than it should be. The biggest problem for me when playing this game basically is that I get to the 5th stage and then I lose all my lives or something like that, which means I have to go back and resolve all the puzzles that came before it. This is, in my opinion, definitely not a good mechanic for a puzzle game, and I will never like it. Luckily, this game is easy enough for me to understand, but I still hated having to redo puzzles the entire time. So yeah, depending if you're good or not so good at puzzle games, like me, who's not that good at puzzle games, you might have a hard time getting through 5 stages each time. But yeah, that's just how this game works, sadly. Luckily, most people can remember how they solved the previous puzzle. I sadly could not, so I just eventually started using a guide to get through the stages I have already done, basically. To get back to the point where I was before. But yeah, each of these puzzles can take you, depending on how many things you have to move around here and there, can take up from 2 minutes to 10 minutes each, meaning there are 60 stages in this game, so you can do the math as to how long this game might take you. If you don't know the solutions. But yeah, that's basically all that Megalit has to offer. It's 60 puzzles that you have to solve, which is a very low number for Game Boy puzzle games. Another reason why I really actually enjoyed this game. It's not like 150 stages. But yeah, keep in mind that there is a timer, which is generous, and there are lives that can set you back a few stages. Alright. So let's take a look at the cover, because looking at the cover of this game, you would not expect a puzzle game at all, and especially not the graphics you would get for this game at all. So both Japanese and Western release covers are basically the same drawing. I think they recolored some of it a little bit here and there. But the cover consists of a wizard in the background, basically throwing monoliths at a warrior in the foreground. I don't know where this wizard comes from, because, like they said, it's a witch, but maybe that's just the translation that they thought it was a witch. Because you never really see... well, there are cutscenes, but you just see a robed character, but he or she does not have any features around the face. So it could be both. Maybe it was supposed to be a wizard, but they changed it to a witch in the back of the cover, I guess. But yeah, that's basically all you see. Like, you see the wizard in the back throwing rocks from the sky. He has like this ominous presence that he's covering the entire world. You have the warrior from the backside at the bottom of the cover, like shooting electricity at one of the megaliths, trying to throw it back at the wizard, I would say. So it's a very fantasy-like thing. You would expect this to be a more Western RPG, basically, like something indeed like wizardry, or I never play these games, so I don't know that many of them. But like either a dungeon crawler or like yeah, like some Western RPG, but then you get presented with a very cutesy charactered puzzle game, so that's really weird. I do like the cover, but it wouldn't speak to me immediately. I would definitely check out the back to see more, but then you immediately see what you're gonna get, and then you're like, wow, they put so much effort into this cover for a puzzle game. That is very strange, but it's a nice cover at least. But yeah, that's about it for the cover. I do not have any trivia for this game. I did not find any reviews for this game even, so we can basically skip over that part. So my thoughts and history with the game, I didn't know it until I started playing it for portable pleasure, but I immediately fell in love with it, especially during easy mode, because I was like, oh, these are fun puzzles to solve. They give me plenty of time. There are no lives. There are passwords. That's very pleasant. And I was surprised. I think it took me like 2 hours to beat easy mode or something like that. So I was like, oh, this is cool, but what is this quest mode? And then it hit me that it had a timer and lives, and I wasn't very happy about that immediately. But again, these puzzles are simple enough even for me to eventually be able to solve them. So it took me another 6 or 7 hours to beat the rest of the game. But again, I had to replay a lot of levels a lot of the times, because I game overed in a later stage and just didn't have a password. But yeah, for when it comes to puzzle games for Game Boy, this is definitely one of my favorite, just because of the simplicity of the presentation and the mechanics, and it is just a lot of fun to play, even with the lives and the timer added to it. So I can highly recommend this one if you're looking for a shorter puzzle game, at least. If you things like Picross and Boxel and what was the other one? That took me so long, like Adventures of Lolo. Their presentation might be a little bit better, but this is a short and sweet puzzle game that everybody can enjoy. So yeah, there we go. There are speedruns of this game actually, but only for easy mode at this moment, which is weird to me. Well, I understand that is the shortest part of the game for sure, but it is all about basically learning the puzzles by heart, so there could be a run for quest mode as well, and I'm pretty sure people who know what they're doing can easily do it in like, I would say like an hour maybe. Well, maybe not, because easy mode is like 47 minutes, maybe an hour and a half then, like I would say it's twice as long. But yeah, once you know the puzzles, it's like easy to remember. Not for me, but for most people, it's easy to remember them. So yeah, if you're interested in speedrunning this game after you've played it, there's another free world record you can get if you're really into it. So yeah, that's about all I can say about Megalit. Like there's really not that much to talk about because it is a puzzle game, and I can't really say much more of it. So let's take another quick break here to listen to one of the other songs from this game, and then I will say my goodbyes for this episode. See you soon. And we are back, yes. So, yeah, that was Megalit, and that was also the final episode for this year. Normally this will be the final episode of December, the second one, and the last one for 2021. So yeah, I wanted to keep it short for not only us but for everybody. But yeah, hope you enjoyed another half a year of This Is Game Boy, and we will definitely see you back, or you will hear us back in 2022. So EBC is not here like usual, and I don't go over the community events, but like at the end of December or the start of January, there will of course be, is it SGDQ? No, that's Summer Game, AGDQ. And as we mentioned in the previous episode, there will be only one Game Boy game, which is Ultraman Ball. Game we haven't talked about yet. Maybe we should do that in the future. But it's gonna be run by Geiges Blues, who is a great person, so you should definitely check out that run if you have a chance. It's only like 10 minutes, so make sure you're there because it's over if you blink. No. We didn't have any listener questions for this episode either, because probably nobody even knows that this game exists, but now you do, so you are welcome. So, yeah, like always, if you have any thoughts and suggestions, you could always reach out to us by commenting on the episodes themselves on SoundCloud, by contacting us through our social medias or our Twitch channels, or you can always, of course, join our Discord, where you can talk to us kinda live if we are available at that moment. If you are wanting to talk to me personally, you can find me on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram, all under /Moelle. That's MoElleuh. You can find my co-host eBloodyCandy on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, also Instagram and TikTok, all under eBloodyCandy. And you can find our amazing producer Lex over at Twitch as SprintingLegs, on Twitter as SprintingLegs, on YouTube as Lex, and also on her own website, SprintingLegs.com, where, as I mentioned before, we still have the Game Boy database, the Game Boy manual database, and things like that. And you can find all the other projects she's doing on there as well. If you want an easier time to finding us, just go to our website, of course. This is gameboy.com, where you can find a little biography of each of us and some nice images you can click that will take you to whatever channel you need or whatever social media site you need, and then you can follow us through there or reach out to us through there, which is easier. And it of course also has a link to our Discord that you are very welcome to join if you want to. Besides that, you can support us in many different ways. The cheapest one is by listening to us and by rating the episodes or liking the episodes on whatever platform you're listening. You can also join us on our YouTube channel, where you can listen to these episodes while also having some gameplay in the background if you're interested in that. it's a lot easier to see what we're talking about that way for sure. But that's definitely the way to go. And once we've reached 100 subscribers, I believe we can actually take that This Is Game Boy URL we're after. So please subscribe to us on YouTube for sure. Again, you can find a link to our channel on our website, thisisgameboy.com. If you want to support us with some money though, there's also ways to do that. We have a Patreon where you can, for the low price of $1 a month, become a patron, and that will give you access to not only our episode notes, but also some hidden channels on our Discord, and since a month or two, you also get early access to the Let's Play that me and EBC are doing called Haunt Hunters, which is us playing through some horror-inspired games. At this point, I think Yomawari is in early access, available for Patreon, but after a while they get released to the entire public. And so far we have God's Basement and Silent Hill Origins out for the public to view. If you want to talk about Haunt Hunters, you can also do that on our Discord as well, like if you have any thoughts and suggestions for that channel. Besides Patreon, which is a monthly subscription-based thing, we also have a one-time donation thing going through our paypal.me link, which you again can find on our website. So if you just want to support us one time, you can definitely do that through PayPal. And if you want the same benefits on Discord as our patrons, just make sure to mention your name or like contact us on our Discord, and then we can set that up, because there's no integration on PayPal for stuff like that. But we do want to give you some benefits as well for supporting us. If you actually want something physical in return for supporting us, there's a third way. We actually have a store which you can access through merch.thisisgameboy.com, and yes, I actually put a link on the website eventually. You can find that at the top of the page. That will take you straight through there. And for now, we have two things for sale. We have a nice mug with our logo on it, and we have a t-shirt available in 3 colors. Dark green, I guess I would say, dark gray, and light gray with our logo on it. You can buy one through our shop, and they're really high quality shirts. Like I've had a few not from This Is Game Boy, but like other ones, but I also have a This Is Game Boy one, of course, and they have been washed multiple times. Don't see any degradation from the print. And I also don't see any shirt degradation, like it's losing its color or things like that. So yeah, you can grab one of those on our merch store. And don't worry, it doesn't matter where you're from, US or EU. They actually have like a factory where they print them in different continents. There we go. That's the word I was looking for. So it will always be shipped from close by, so you won't have to pay for import taxes or customs or things like that. But yeah, those are the ways to support us. So yeah, that's I guess it. I think I've mentioned everything. Always a lovely scripted outro that we do here. So yeah, that's it for me. Again, final episode of this year, so everybody enjoy the holidays. If it's Christmas, Hanukkah, or Kwanzaa, or nothing at all, and have a happy New Year, unless you're Japanese, because then you're celebrating it a little bit later. But yeah, enjoy the holidays, spend some time with family and friends, eat way too much and then be sad that you have to lose weight in the first month of 2022, and drink moderately or just go all out crazy, as long as you don't have to drive home yourself. But yeah, we'll catch you next year. We will be back with an episode on Metroid 2, which I'm gonna love and EBC is gonna hate. See you then. I did it! Yay!